Well, I guess it was more belief than if I hold it, I can't drive. It was an ahistorical time. There was no history taught, even though I had Gideon. At Harvard, we studied Scandinavian New Times. That's as close as we got to anything historical, which was just finished. But I remember we were given a theater to do, and I went to the library and got Garnier's Paris Opera and put it on my desk, very elegant folder, and had the book open on my desk. And the dean, the then dean, Jose Luis came by, put his head over my raised desk, and he said, "Mr. Grace, what are you looking at?" And I said, "I'm looking at Garnier," and he said, with one great movement, he put his hands under the book like this, shut it, and said, "You won't need that here at Harvard." AT&T called Intel, and she said, "Oh, it's so fortunate that I'm sitting next to you. I have a job for you." And I thought, this is great. And well, I had to give a good dinner. And she said, "Last week I was sitting with Giorgio Armani, and I asked him if he would design a telephone for me. And he said he would, and he's already working on it." And she said, "Would you design this is a crucial story for me, a designer telephone for me?" And I said, "No, I wouldn't." She said, "Why not?" I said, "I'll be happy to design a telephone for you, but not a designer telephone. I want a telephone for everybody. Because I don't know if the designers are any smarter or more unique than anybody else is smart. And they all know how to use the telephone." And she agreed. And she said, "You could do that? You put the two together?" I said, "Yes, and there's some a lot more someplace." But I was just...
But maybe she wanted a bespoke type.
Yeah, I was...
With one of a kind.
Right. I was just in a meeting in Texas relative to product design for some new clients, and they brought up the name Joseph Joseph. And if you don't know these people from London, you will. They are terrific designers. They're very, very clever. Clever to a fault. Clever likewise. And they had done they showed me, they had done a kitchen timer. It looked like a hockey puck. And I picked it up and I said, "What do I do with this?" Now, if I'm Mark Riddick, I can't pick it up to start with, but I picked it up, and here is this thing that was essentially an art hockey puck. And I turned it, and oh yes, you could see these very slick numbers and so on. And you put it down, and they started to pick back. And then it went off, and that was it. But I thought, there's the motion of the hand, there's picking it up, there's looking at it, there are all these things. And I said, well, we've just done a new timer. It's got a handle to turn. It's got a place to read what the time is. If you know which is the bottom, which is the top, and so on. And it's not ugly, but it's not clever. It's just very good looking and useful, and therefore a design that I'm very happy with. I like the experience of turning it. So it's a very different proposition, the abstraction that goes on today, whether it's building or product design. And that's what you see if this were the Pritzker Award ceremony, we would be talking about 20-year-old architects who were designing museums that should turn upside down.